Hey guys, it is me, Tanya, founder of the TNG Designs Group Limited. I hope you're keeping safe and well. Now, in this particular video, we're going to be talking about what is rebranding, or what does rebranding even mean? Now, this gets thrown around a lot, but in a good way, of course. And depending on the time of you're actually watching this video, there's been some recent major rebrands amongst really cool and big brands. And I'm going to be talking about two in particular within this particular video. But I'm also going to be talking about key things that you need to be mindful of when it comes to the idea of rebrand or rebranding, and what to actually look out for when it comes to your specifically rebranding as well. Now, I want to make sure that you're actually going to be doing this next thing. If you haven't done so already, I would like you to subscribe. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because I'm super aware of the views that I'm getting and I'm super grateful for those. However, I want you to do this next thing, which is to go ahead and subscribe. Then when you do that, please make sure you go ahead and share this video with somebody else who you think that could really benefit from information just like this. Because when you do that, you're helping to spread the message and the clear-cut, concise information that I always share on these channels, all about branding. You get to share why branding is super important, and equally also get to help me on my mission to be able to help others to see that they are more than what they see. Because, as you know, I will always say till I'm blue in the face, representation matters, and it's super key to be able to understand that, you know what, you're an example of a way forwards that others really need to be able to see, and really need to understand that, okay, it can be done, okay? Now, before we get stuck into this particular video, once again, please make sure you go ahead and subscribe to this channel, and also make sure that you stick around to the very end of this video, because I've always got something to share with you that will definitely help to boost the awareness of who you are and why it is that you do what you do. So, without further ado, folks, let's get stuck into this video. So now let's talk about the idea of understanding specific things, especially when it comes to the idea of understanding what rebranding is, and equally, what does it mean? Rebranding comes about with three specific shifts in mind, okay? So when you experience these shifts, that tends to lead to the idea of transformation, and equally, it's a sign of you evolving from what you once were to where you are right now, okay? These three shifts are change, they are growth, and they are also progress. Now, if you've ever noticed any kind of a resistance off the back of having changed or progressed or even grown, in fact. If you've noticed any kind of resistance to the values that you once had to where you are currently, well then that's typically a sign of you needing to rebrand. If you're having resistance to the way you're currently positioning yourself and in front of your audience or your peers, well then that typically means that you also need to rebrand. And also this third and final thing, if you're feeling a resistance against the message that you're currently sharing, well then that's also a sign of you wanting or needing to rebrand as well. Essentially what you're doing is rethinking the look, the feel that you want others to experience when it comes to having coming across your page or coming across you in general. So think about, what is that resistance for yourself? When you understand what the resistance is, when you understand what it is or how it is that you actually want to show up in front of your audience, well then that's your time to rebrand. Now, fun fact, I'm currently going through a rebrand myself, and within that rebrand that I'm actually addressing these key specific things. Now, my message is still the same, but what I'm doing is actually reinforcing it even more so. And the visual side of me is also changed. The meaning of what I stand for has stayed the same. However, the way I'm now reaching out to people has also slightly shifted. So, all because of my progresses and all because of the different types of growth that I've had, but equally all because of the changes I've made along through the years. And where I've helped so many other clients to be able to do the same within their brands, I also want to make sure that you specifically, and whoever else you share this video onto, I want to make sure that you're all also understanding rebranding. Now, when it comes to rebranding, and I say that with a little giggle, it's very easy to kind of miss the mark on what it is that you're trying to do. You can overthink it, yes, but you can overdo it in areas that you really do not need to overdo it in. And I'm going to talk specifically about, as I shared with you before, specifically about two brands. But for the purpose of this example, I want to talk to you about Jaguar. Now, this particular rebrand, and again, it's new in the sense of at the time of me recording this video, so it all depends on when you're actually watching this video. But however, I'm pretty sure you can always look it up. Good old Google has a great archive of many a thing. Now, this particular campaign that Jaguar relaunched or rebranded with, it's the idea of copy nothing. Now, me personally, I love the phrase. I get what they were trying to do, and I'm going to show an image as to the general campaign, what it looked like. I'm not mad at the new logo. Again, at the time of this recording this particular video, I'm not mad at the logo. It's very streamlined, it's very linear, it's very clear-cut and sort of futuristic, if you like. And it has its own characteristics and stands on its own in that respect, as Jaguar usually does. And it's got a very classic feel, as Jaguar is, right? However, where I felt that they actually missed the mark was the way that they actually showcased the models who were actually representing the new look, or the idea of copy nothing when it comes to Jaguar. Now, please understand as well, by the way, I actually love the models that they've used. However, the way they've presented the models is how I feel that they've missed the mark. Now, for me, and obviously I wasn't in the mix of this whole rebrand. However, for me, going away and thinking about it, I remember just thinking, like, Tan, what is it that's really not working for you? And for me, it was the idea of, yes, use these models because I love what they represent. I love that they're all different, right? It's all about inclusivity. It's all about representation. I love that. What I wasn't too keen on was the way that they were dressed. What I wasn't too keen on was the fact that they were overworked in that respect. For me, they all have a sense of individuality. Now, Jaguar is all about the idea of, yes, well, their new idea of individuality, and hence the reason for the phrasing, copy nothing. However, the way that they showcased each and every one of these models literally missed the mark for me, because I felt that they were overworked. They didn't represent the models in that fact. They didn't showcase the models to their ability. They didn't showcase the models as themselves. To me, Jaguar is all about the representation of that classic kind of a look, but more so specifically in this day and age, Jaguar has now become the look of it being for the individual, no matter what they look like. And I don't think they represented that well at all. I think they overdid it. I think like that they overcompensated for it. I feel that they really, really emphasized it, is that whole sort of concept of, hey, look, they're all different, right? There, look at this. Look at what we're trying to do here. We're trying to include everybody. But I felt like they overdid it. Why couldn't they wear their own clothing? Why couldn't they represent them in their own state? Why couldn't they yes, be classically dressed, or yes, be classically dressed as themselves? Why couldn't they be themselves in that? I feel like if you're this specific car brand, if you're this specific brand, I feel like you're wanting to represent the person. You're representing the individuality of that person. Everybody can have that classical feel, whatever that classical feel is unique to them. So why not showcase that? I feel like they overdid it here, and it'd be interesting to understand what your opinions were on the new Jaguar look and feel. I know that we also received a hell of a lot of backlash for opinions similar to mine, but that was literally what I felt when I saw it. I felt like, wow, this is what you chose, huh? This is what you chose. Similarly to, I don't know if you ever watched it, by the way, folks, the Paris Olympics. Missed the mark big time, but that's a whole nother story for another time. But again, the idea of representation, yes, they showcased that. However, I felt like they missed the mark on so many things. Sometimes when you're trying to voice an opinion, when you're trying to make sure the authenticity aspect is showcased, you really do miss the mark on what the true meaning behind what you're doing is. Going back to Jaguar, if you're about the classical feeling, if you're about that classical feeling that is unique to you, whatever that is to you, if you're about the idea of uniqueness, again, if you're about the idea of standing in your own true individuality and still having a car like Jaguar, and still being able to represent the person who gets to have a car like Jaguar, I feel like, yeah, sometimes you can really miss the mark on trying to overdo it with that message. Copy nothing doesn't mean that you have to stand out in that kind of a way. Copy nothing for me means the idea of you stand in your own individuality, you stand true to you. Those models, to me, look like they have their own uniqueness, they have their own individuality. So what was wrong with them representing themselves, using their own clothing, using their own and I'm pretty sure they're all super stylish, so why couldn't they use their own clothing rather than how they were dressed? So that was just very interesting to me. Anyway, it'd be very interesting to hear what your opinions are, so go ahead and share them with me underneath this video as well. Now, I could keep going on and on about this, however, I want to move on now. And now let's talk about the idea of Eventbrite. Now, Eventbrite, again, recently rebranded, or depending on the time that you're actually watching this video, they've gone for something that was a simple classical lowercase e to something that is super energetic e. And again, obviously you'll see an image of what that now looks like, what it was compared to what it is now. Now, I actually didn't mind this look. When I first saw it, I actually came across it as my app has updated, and that's how I saw it. I was like, oh, Eventbrite are stepping up a little bit. You know, they're trying to meet a new audience. They're trying to make sure that, they're trying to make sure that their current audience feels the same kind of energy that they want anything that is showcased through Eventbrite to have. They had that classical E that literally represented the idea of showcasing your event, promoting your event. Now they've gone for a super energetic E, which brings across that energy, which brings that across that idea of, hey, everybody, this is what we are doing. Come and showcase your stuff, or equally come and see what's going on our platform. In many respects, it's kind of inviting a hell of a lot more. And in many respects, it's really bringing about what they want their audience to experience. Now, I say all that to say, because I now want you to think about how or what it is that you want your audience to experience when they see you, when they come across your platforms, when they come across especially your social media, or come across your logo, right? Even down to your logo. What are they experiencing when they get that? Just off the back of me seeing the E symbol for Eventbrite, that's how I felt. What are people seeing when they come across your own logo, when they come across your own platform? Do they feel that level of energy? Do they feel accepted? Do they feel welcomed? Do they feel related to what it is that you're going through or equally experiencing, and equally with what it is that you're actually sharing as well? Do they feel that? Do they get that? And do they understand that? As I said, the rebrand that I'm currently going through is starting to represent my shifts, in the sense where I am now making sure that I'm always welcoming people. I'm always sharing experiences that I've gone through, but equally I wonder if they've gone through it themselves. And I'm also showcasing a sign of growth simply because I'm going through these motions. I'm going through these evolving times. Everybody always goes through these evolving times, and no, you do not have to stay static at that starting point, representing values that no longer resonate with you. You grow, you evolve, and you transform. I'm showcasing to people how this happens. It's what I do as for my business. It's what I do to help other people. But equally, it's what I do to help understand that, yes, representation matters. And yes, you are a hell of a lot more than what you see. So what are you doing to showcase that? So have a think, folks. How are you making sure that you are still representing you, who you are today? Does your brand still really reflect who you are today? Or is it time for a rebrand? And if it's time for a rebrand, start here. So underneath this video, make sure that you go ahead and just click that link that's in the description box. When you get asked for a few details, this is what's going to come to you. You're going to get sent over a really cool checklist, which is essentially all the key things that you just need to start paying attention to when it comes to either your brand in general or when you're going through the rebranding process. Now, these key things are principles that not only do I stand by, but equally I've used to help other people, more specifically my clients, to be able to showcase themselves in the best possible light kind of as well. And I want to share that with you guys too. Now, when you go through the list, share the information with me, because I'm nosy like that. I want to know how things have been helping you, right? But equally, there's also a really cool gift at the end of it that I want to make sure that you are actually taking me up on. Because when you take me up on that, that means that you're starting to keep the motions going yourself. You want to keep that ball rolling for yourself. And if you're at that ready stage, well, then let's keep it moving for you. If you've had any questions, specifically off the back of what I've shared here, please make sure you go ahead and share them within the description box below. I will always come back and make sure that I actually answer your questions or respond to you in general. And more specifically, folks, as always, make sure you go ahead and like, subscribe to this channel, and I will see you on the other side.